That's all we know how to do. So just before I forget, I ordered the Main Street Cycle trail clutch, which comes with this spring, stainless steel, for the primary, the stainless steel spacer, and the stainless Helix, which I'll be replacing here. Alright guys, so the first thing you want to do is take the cover off. Alright, so that's all the screws off. The cover should just, I hope, just pop right off. And it is. Just drop it straight down. And we're good to go. Now what I want to do is, while I got it off, is I want to see why it's screaming when I start it and it's in neutral. So let's start it up and watch and see what happens. Hey guys, that is not normal. And what is that? Guys, I know that's not normal. Oil in my crankcase? I mean, in my belt case? Well, that can't be normal. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do, they gave us an added bolt to install in here to relieve the pressure from the secondary. And it just so happens to be 17 millimeter. Now, so we get this straight, this is a 21 millimeter, and it's righty-loosey on this, okay? So don't try to take your impact wrench and think you're loosening it, because if you don't put it in reverse, you're going to be tightening it. Pull the bolt out with the washer. And the second nut is a 36 millimeter. My English isn't very good today. And again, you put it, tighten is loosening, okay? Take that off with the washer. Set that to the side. Now we will pull our primary off. We're going to leave it together till I work on changing the spring in here. Now we can continue by getting the belt off, which I'm hoping is not that big of a deal, but I might just, we should be able to get it off. I'm going to save this, even though there's something going on in here. I don't know where that oil is coming from, but buddy, that's a lot. Put this to the side. Now we're going to remove the secondary clutch, lefty-loosey, with an 18mm socket. Guys, it's hard to tell if that oil is coming from here, but it sure does seem like it. And that's an awful lot of oil in my clutch. That's a lot of oil in there, guys. Pretty concerned about that. All right, so it looks pretty simple, guys. Just take your Allen key. I don't know what size that is, but you'll figure it out. And just loosen up the Allen key that's holding in your Helix. And just pull the Helix straight out. Same thing for the other one. Once it's loose, it comes all the way out. Now before I put the new Helix in, before I put the new Helixes in, I'm going to spray brake cleaner on this because there is oil on everything in here and I'm not sure why that's like that. Honestly, guys, I know that's not normal to have oil in there, but I'll reach out to Steve with Main Street Cycle and ask him his opinion. So when comparing the old Helix to the new Helix, look at the difference. I mean, these are bad to the bone, man. Big difference in them. Thickness, the quality, I mean, everything about them just is bad to the bone. I'm gonna put some Loctite on these real quick. Give me a second. And then just proceed to tighten them back in there. You don't want to break them, guys. Just nice and snug. Oops. And there really is only one way they can go in, so it's very simple, guys. I've said this 1,000 times in the past. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm almost 60-year-old and forgotten what most people already, forgotten. Forgotten even how to say it. Okay, that's it for the secondary now. There's the weights. I'll clean them out before I put them back in. And the only thing holding this on, the sleeve come with it, is these. The only thing holding the spring on is these 3 bolts, and there's not much tension on those. We'll go ahead and pop them loose. Pull the screws out. Should really clean that out. Take out the old primary string or spring. Alright, so I got it all cleaned out. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in there. I don't understand why, but I guess it's the nature of the beast. So the first thing you want to put in is this brass looking sleeve. Slide it into the top of your primary, or backside of your primary. Then you put this washer in on top of that. And what I think what that does is it relieves the tension from the back pressure on the spring. Then we'll put our spring in here, and we'll drop our weight in. I mean, our spacer in. And then all we got to do, guys, is pop this back on. Alright guys, I've read online that this particular belt here, sold at Main Street Cycle will not fit this unit. It's not the same size. Well, I'm here to tell you that someone else installed it. I think it was Danny Rocky from YouTube. I'm not YouTube, but it would be Danny Rocky from Facebook. Installed this exact same belt, and his worked fine. And it stopped that belt or stopped everything from spinning in here when he was in idle. Mine has a bad habit of doing that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I wiped that out the best I could get. I hope and pray nothing's going on in there. First thing I'm going to do is put the secondary clutch back in. I still have the bolt in it, and I have the new belt. Get it all the way on. Then you're going to put the bolts back in it. Remember, this one is righty-tighty. All we want to do is just get it snug on there by hand, which is fine. And while we have this bolt in here, this is the spacer, this is what separates the secondary. We're going to go ahead and put the primary back on. Remember, the primary is backward thread on everything, and all I'm going to do is just snug it up. Lefty tighty. Snug it up nice and tight. Don't try to break it, guys. Slide the second bolt in. Okay, so now that's nice and tight. Now we're going to take this bolt out. Now we're going to tighten this bolt up. 18 millimeter, guys. Tighten it up like you regularly would. call. That's the easy part. Guys, it don't get no, this is way easier than it was on the 950. There's no comparison. This could be done on the field, changing a belt with no problem whatsoever, guys. Piece of cake. That 950, man. Them bolts that were up in that upper corner. Whoo, doggy. They gave me a fit so many times. Me with my big fat meat hooks. Made it even more difficult. Guys, I gotta admit, I mean, I put that clutch in there and that brand new belt, and it's a totally different world. The engagement, the RPMs go up immediately when you're giving it gas. Even the shifter is 10 times smoother because the belt was trying to engage with the stock belt and the stock clutch. So it's making it next to impossible to change the gears sometimes. Now it's smooth as butter just by changing the clutch and a new belt. I mean, I don't know, guys. But the Gates belt, the number I put on that, I showed you guys earlier, that's definitely a good belt. I mean, we'll see how the longevity of it is. It feels a little lighter than the stock one. But who cares, man? For 80 bucks, Main Street Cycle? Heck yeah, man. Anyway, peace out again. God bless. See you next time.